Hi Ange,
Right.
you might be pleased this will be the final transfer question for a couple of months perhaps. What are the final updates? Are you planning any surprise transfers into the club between now and the end of the window?
No, no. Yeah, like I said, obviously, yeah, with today sort of being deadline day for these things, there won't be any other incomings. And in terms of outgoings, still some things happening in the background, but again, nothing confirmed yet.
Yeah, I know there'll be a few names outgoing perhaps, and specifically Georgios Giakoumakis. What's the latest? What can you tell us there?
Yeah, again, just ongoing discussions, nothing finalised. But we're like I said, I think we're getting to the tail end of it one way or another, and we'll get a conclusion, I guess, over the next sort of 24 hours. But nothing concluded yet, just ongoing discussions as far as I know.
Hi, Ange. I just wonder how you would assess this overall. Obviously, it's not finished yet, but just how would you assess this transfer market for you and the club? Obviously, a lot of business done early on.
Yeah, look, from my perspective, everything we sort of wanted to get done and sort of we looked to try and do within this window we've got there. And, we went into it sort of with the knowledge that there were a couple of areas we definitely wanted to strengthen, and there was also a couple of areas we thought that they're more than likely to be some exits. So to get ahead of it, we thought we'd need to do some business so that we don't get caught short. One no secret, one area was obviously right back with Josip, and we got Alistair in nice and early, which was pleasing, and the other one was there was obviously Jacko's future, and again, if we hadn't have bought Owen, we could have been sort of in this position now, really scrambling a little bit to see what we did in that area. So, and then we've added Tomoki and Yuki Kobayashi, who are guys we'd identified pretty early on. We wanted to bring in. So, depending on the outgoings, but with Josip and potentially Jacko going out, we brought four players in who are under the age of 24 and for less money than sort of we've had to pay out. So from that perspective, I think it's our objectives going into the window have been achieved. The success of that will bear fruit, obviously, over the next few months and beyond, is how well the new players contribute. But to be fair to them, they've already sort of made a contribution.
In terms of the other potential outgoings of those players that maybe haven't had that opportunity, that may get the opportunity to go elsewhere, and is it also a case of making sure that your squad's the ideal number for you, and or there's no sort of bloatedness, or the squad's exactly how you want it in terms of number.
Yeah, again, as I said, we've already bought in players to sort of insulate if guys who, as you said, the obvious ones are the guys who haven't played a lot of football for us. If they find other opportunities or seek other opportunities, we're comfortable with that. And again, it has to suit all parties, obviously. And if that happens, again, as I said, I'm really comfortable that we've brought in four, good young players who will be contributors this year and beyond. So we'll see what happens over the next sort of few hours. But the guys who sort of haven't played a lot of football and are looking for opportunities elsewhere, if those opportunities exist, and like I said, satisfactory to all parties, we'll look to make it happen.
Hi, Ange. Just specifically on those, is it right that Abelgard and Ideguchi are two that might be exploring those options? You wouldn't be surprised if either of those or both of those two move today. Is that fair?
Well, they fit the definition of what I just said. Yeah, I don't think you're not really on mastermind at the moment where you've figured out some drips I've given you. I mean, I've said guys who haven't played regularly, and they definitely fit that bill. And like I said, for us, that's kind of where we're at in terms of the squad right now. That anyone who's played football and has been a meaningful contributor won't be leaving in this window. It'll potentially the ones who will leave are the ones who haven't got a lot of regular game time, which there's 4 or 5 in the squad. Now, I'm not going to talk about individuals because then if nothing happens, then I don't want to sort of make it seem like players are staying reluctantly. So, but there are 4 or 5 in that category, 2 of which you've mentioned that are exploring opportunities right now.
And it sounds like you're happy with the strength of the squad and the depth that you've got as well. I think I'm right in saying you like to think a transfer window ahead. So with this group of players, are you happy to be going into the Champions League if that's where you end up, or are you already thinking of developments and improvements for the summer?
Yeah, no, you're jumping a few steps ahead. Like our objective this window, like I said, was to strengthen the squad and look for opportunities which we felt were going to be add some quality to our squad. Like I said, the January window is a unique one where I think we can take advantage of certain things which we did last January, and I think we've done that again by hitting markets where you can get deals done pretty quickly. Second part of that was, as I said earlier, that we kind of had a feeling there'd be a couple of departures of players who were significant contributors, so we wanted to get ahead of that. And I think on both those fronts we're in good shape now. You're talking about Champions League. Well, we're in a position right now where we're competing in 3 competitions, and our objective is to be successful in them. And our planning beyond that goes, further down the line in terms of what we potentially can do in the next window. We try and always, try and plan as much as we can, but that's not focused on what potential outcomes we have. That's focused on making the squad stronger every window if possible.
Hi, Ange. Obviously, you've been here for just over 18 months now. It's your 3rd transfer window just coming to a close. And you seem to have moulded the squad the way you want. It seems a bit more streamlined now as well, which is quite far away from the shape it was in when you arrived back in summer 2021. Are you surprised by how you've been able to do that and almost how quickly you've been able to mould the squad into your image?
No, I think is it 4? I think it's 4 windows I've been involved in, including the initial one. And
4, yes, sorry.
Yeah. No, look, I'm not surprised because that's what I was brought in to do. If I didn't believe I could turn it around, and I've said already that I thought that was pretty much my brief to come in and rebuild a team and have success as quickly as possible. And no, I'm not surprised. But I'm also not surprised because the club's been totally aligned in the direction we want to go. I've had great support on and off the field in terms of the decisions that I've made have been totally supported and backed. And when that happens and the club's aligned, and you can do these things and turn things around in a timely manner. And like I said, at this football club, that's what you have to do. You can't spend 2 or 3 years trying to get us back to where we need to be. There was a really small window of opportunity for us to get it right last year. We got it right. This year the challenge is to continue to improve, which I think we have, and that will always be the brief. So I'm not surprised, but it's not it's not come without the club being totally aligned in our decision making.
Just looking ahead to tomorrow's game, what are you expecting? Yeah,
tough game, tough challenge. When you play Livingston, it's always a good challenge, and they're in good form. They're having an outstanding season. David's got them up and about in terms of really competing in every game. They're in great position on the table, and I'm sure they're looking forward to. I think they just missed out in the top 6 last year, and I'm sure their goal this year is to stay in there and potentially get European football. So they'll be highly motivated. So great challenge for us, but at the same time we've been in good form for a long time now, and very consistent in performance and results. And at home, we just got to make sure that again we play our football and dominate the areas we want to, and the result will take care of itself.
And just on Livingston, when you're looking at the way they play and the results, do you admire the kind of job that David Martindale's done? Because I think he's probably got pretty sure he's got the lowest budget in the league as well, and for them to be up where they are, it's pretty impressive.
I think he tells us that on a weekly basis, doesn't he? So I think there's no secret there, which is a nice way of him sort of downplaying, their prospects and maybe pumping himself up a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. No, look, he's doing a great job, and it just goes to show that he's got a clear idea about the way he wants his team to play. He backs his players. You can tell that, you know, every game they're up for the contest. You know, they're well drilled, they're well disciplined, and you know, that's why they're in the position they are in the league. So look, I've got admiration for him. I've said before, I've got admiration for every manager. I know how tough the role is, irrespective of, you know, where you're working. There's always challenges there, and you know, so for me, I kind of have, you know, respect for everyone who's in that role. But you know, I think where Livingston are, you know, their position on the table and the way they've gone about things, I think you can only help but you know, admire the work him and everyone at their football club's done, including the players.
Just in terms of your team news, is it the same as the weekend?
Yeah, nothing really changed. Tony Ralston still out, but back with the group, which is good. So he's been out for a little while, so we'll probably give him an extra week this week to get right. Benji Siegrist had a little bit of a setback with a calf complaint, so he won't be available again tomorrow, but again, only short term, and everyone else got through the game all well.
Hi Ange, there's 15 league games left in the season. Are you now at a point where you're kind of checking these off one by one to a stage where it would be no longer mathematically possible for to be caught?
No, I don't think that's kind of the way we look at it. You know, we're kind of looking at it, you know, as I said after the weekend, that you know, we're playing really well. We're getting stronger as every week goes on. We've got a great squad at the moment, knock on wood, that's really healthy, and for the most part everyone is in good form. So there's no reason why we can't finish the season stronger than we started the season. So that's our objective, you know, every game. Because I think if you start looking at sort of ticking stuff off or targets or, you know, whatever point gap there is, you're kind of losing sight of sort of what we're trying to achieve. What we're trying to achieve is, can we be a better football side this year than we were last year? And so far we're doing that, and we want to finish the season strong so that we can, you know, come to the end of it and say, you know what, we've improved as a football team. And I think if we do that, you know, we won't have to worry about what position we are on the table. We'll get the rewards that our performances deserve. So, yeah, our focus right now is on Livingston tomorrow and making sure we play well, because we know it's going to be a tough challenge.
Livingston have got some technically good players in their team, but they've also got a knack of, you know, bringing in kind of real defensive solidity. How do you keep finding solutions to get round that type of style when you're playing against it?
Well, I think it's just, you know, the lads obviously now, you know, understand that the solutions for all these things rely within our, you know, our principles and our football. You know, there are certain constants that will always be there with the way we play, and as long as we don't get, you know, sort of derailed from that by all number of things that could happen in a game of football. That's sometimes, you know, the opposition, sometimes it's the conditions, sometimes it's, you know, refereeing decisions, sometimes it's just the circumstances of a game. All these things are there. The game of football is there to kind of test your will and resolve in what you believe in. And, you know, this group of players has been really good for a long time now in every time they've been tested by whatever the challenge may be. They've really stuck to the principles of us, you know, playing football a certain way, being aggressive in a certain way, being disciplined and structured in key areas, and not wavering from that. Now, you know, it's easy to dismiss that when you're winning as consistently as we are, but you know, those wins are on the back of overcoming any number of those factors I mentioned before on a weekly basis or on every game basis, and that's the key for us. You know, I keep saying to the players, my role is to give them as many possible tools out there to face up to the challenges, but I can't tell them what that challenge is going to be, because every game of football is unique in the way it sets itself up.
Hey Ange, congratulations on your 50th league victory at the weekend.
Thanks, man.
First of all, I mean, 5 clean sheets in a row now. How important is that to your style of football? knowing that you're playing the fast, free-flowing, attacking football and having that defence that will keep the ball out the other net as well. Is that kind of something you've been working on since you came in? I know at first you were saying you don't mind winning 5-2, 6-3, but having that solid defence is a key part of the team.
Yeah, look, it's something we've sort of focused on, and to be fair, I don't get as excited about clean sheets as other managers do or other people do. Much to the chagrin of Joe Hart and the defenders who take pride in it. I don't want to be dismissive of it, but I still think it's about what our intent is and what we do as a collective. Our defensive structure is there as a platform for us to play football aggressively and score goals. That's the basic premise of it, is that the more aggressive we are defensively, the more opportunities we'll get to score goals, create chances, be dominant in the game. So, it's not set up as to how we can sort of, make sure we don't concede. It's more about, well, how can we create more opportunities? And we do that by, being really aggressive in the way we defend. We defend high up the park, which, stops the opposition getting close to our goal, which, has a knock-on effect of them creating fewer opportunities, but also us creating greater opportunities. So I've always, my sort of philosophy has been based on playing a certain kind of way, but also being successful, and I don't think you can be successful if you haven't got, both defensive and attacking side of the game, in equal measures as a very effective function. And whilst I don't get excited by clean sheets, I know that having a really strong defensive aggressive approach, gives us the opportunity to do the things that I do get excited about, and I think people watching get excited about, and that is, putting the ball in the back of the net, in the opposition net.
Yeah. Callum McGregor obviously completed his 400th appearance for the club the other day. How important has he been in helping you get across what you want to play as the Celtic style of football, and just how important is he to the rest of the team?
Yeah, look, he's it's obviously, I've already said that he's a key component of kind of the culture we've set here at the football club. It's very easy for me or any manager to say, well, this is the kind of culture I want, but culture is about people. It's about, will the people in the building believe and live and breathe, the behaviours that me as a manager sort of, want to instill in everyone. And I think with Callum and myself, there's a perfect alignment there because we kind of believe in the same things. I didn't have to sort of direct him into behaving a certain way or talking a certain way. There's, I believe in hard work. I believe in respect. I believe in upholding certain values and traditions in terms of the way we play our football, this football at this club, and Callum is a living embodiment of that. So for me, that's really important, because if there's any kind of resistance there, or if I'm sort of having to dictate those behaviours, it becomes a more difficult task. So he's been a vital cog of what we've built here, and will continue to build here. As I said on the weekend, I think my belief is his best football's ahead of him, and I think that's exciting for him and for the football club.
Just this season, there seems to be a clear trend, at least domestically, of our opponents setting up in a low block with 3 centre-backs, 3 central midfielders, 2 strikers, just kind of crowding out the middle of the park, trying to push us wide. You've always emphasised that you want the team to play your type of football regardless of the opposition, but within that, have you and the team had to made some adjustments to overcome what seems to be an increasingly similar way to set up against us?
Yeah, we haven't made adjustments, but I think the nature, like I said again before, the nature of the game sort of directs you to find solutions, that the opposition, will give you. The reality of it is that, irrespective of how low a block it is or the numbers, at some point there's always going to be space out there if you're moving the ball and you're moving yourself. And for us, if that space is out wide, we'll attack out wide. If it's more central, we'll go through central areas. I think this year the variety of our goals has certainly been different to last year. And that's not because of us sort of directing the guys to do certain things. It's just the natural evolution of our game that, depending on where the opposition is vulnerable, we just need to be alert and ready to attack those areas. And I think the reason we're scoring so many goals this year is because, like I said, there's multiple contributors from different areas, whether that's midfield areas, whether that's wide areas, whether that's through the central area. I think we're a threat equally wherever we get that space. So it's just the evolution of the team, and the team will continue to evolve. I know you said that I don't change my style of play, but it's not also about standing in the same spot in terms of the way we play our football. There's always a natural evolution to the way the team develops, and that depends on the players' growth, the better understanding, the opposition, tactics. All those kind of things help the team evolve in its process. But there are certain core principles and fundamentals that are always there, and when the lads stick to that, the fluency and the frequency of where we attack opposition teams is just dependent on the areas where we think they're vulnerable.
And speaking of that kind of evolution, you've talked about recent signings perhaps giving you more flexibility, trying out different formations. Two things we've not really seen from you at Celtic is starting with 3 centre-backs or starting with 2 central strikers. Why do you prefer not to play in that way, and will we maybe see some tactical changes of this type with new signings?
Again, it's not, I think if you look back through my career, I've played with 3 centre-backs, I've played with 2 holding midfielders, I've played a whole season without a central striker. So I've never been fixed to one formation. I guess the consistency in that is that I've had success in just about all of them. And for me, it's just about, like I said, evolving the team in the manner that I think is the most effective to where the current football trends are. I think I've been managing for 26 years, and through that, football's changed, and it's constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. The way teams analyse oppositions now is different. The way they set up, some of the key components of opposition tactics, are evolving as well. So, for me, I've never been fixed to one sort of formation. If anything, I'm hoping what eventually you get to is that you don't really see much of a formation. And I think if you look at us now, I know you're saying we don't play with 2 strikers, but if somebody can show me when the ball's out wide that we haven't got 2 strikers in the box, winger and striker, then that's why we're getting so many goals. So we don't have really a back four. We don't have 3 central defenders, but sometimes we've got 3 players in the build-up again. So for me, it's never been about sort of fixed positioning, and I think as football evolves, and certainly as long as I'm managing for the rest of my short career, I'm constantly trying to create teams that are a lot more fluid in their positioning than just people saying, well, you need 2 strikers or 3 strikers. We need 4 or 5 players in the box every time the ball's in there. That's what's more important than how many players you sort of line up in the striking position.